Hey Raj, how you doing?
Hey Rowan, I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, mate. I'm very well, thank you. Sorry about this hiccup of a start. As always, technical issues abound. Love them.
Yeah, Friday night, always good.
Always good. Always good. How's your bank holiday been treating you anyway? You been busy?
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, I was actually outside with my neighbors having a 4 o'clock tea on the front garden, keeping the social distancing. And one of my neighbor was kind enough to send across self-baked cakes and cookies. So that was quite a treat.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I wish my neighbours were that kind.
Well, they have sent it across basically to 18 different houses. We tend to do that. We are a very knit community around here, and yeah, we do street parties among ourselves, street barbecues. Uh, very close knit community, honestly. So it is really good to be a part of it.
No, that's awesome. Where are you based again? Just remind me. Up in Nottingham.
Uh, we are based in Nottingham right now.
Wonderful. I've been to Nottingham only the once, and that was to visit a friend when she was at university. I quite like the town. It's very hilly from what I remember.
Yes, it is. So it is very good for people, health conscious people like me, because I do an early morning walks every morning, 5 miles,
Yeah.
and I do up and downhill. So it gives me the uplift and the downtime at the same time. So it is pretty good.
Is that power walking or is it just good old strolls?
Good old strolls, 1 hour, 5 miles down the line. So done deal.
Fair enough. But what else do you have in your routine? Any other health and fitness regimes?
Ooh, that's a good one actually. No, so I don't have time to go to bed. I don't have any strict time to go to bed. It totally depends on how the day is going.
Hmm.
But I do have a restricting time on getting out of bed. So by 5:30, I should be out of my bed. Be it a weekend, Sunday, bank holiday, Monday morning, or whatever, and just keep my diet yeah, proper actually. So I do get my proper breakfast in time, and then my lunch, and then my dinner. That totally depends on the workload at the same time, what I've been busy with. And walking, I mean, literally, just keep yourself walking in. That's all. Besides that, I don't do anything now that the gyms are closed. But normally, I used to go 4 times a week to gym as well. So,
Yeah, I do kind of miss the gym. I was saying to Bruce in my last podcast, there's it's a bit like a resort away from home, and I find it very very difficult to work out in my own living room, which is where I also do my podcast. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass.
see, the thing with gym is, I was suffering from back issues for a very long time, and I went through physiotherapists, chiropractor, tai chi, acupuncture, you just name it, even steroid injections for that matter. Nothing helped except gym, and I kept that onto my routine to ensure that my back doesn't fall back into what it was previously because it was really very painful, and so now I miss gym due to the fact I can have all the equipment at home, but it doesn't give you that feel of actually pushing yourself to have people around you. Then you look at someone doing it, and they're pressing benches and just switching over from one to another, and that is the beauty of it. And you get to know different people. And I'm a people person, honest truth. I mean, I can't imagine sitting home all day and not talking to any strangers for that matter. And I'm really good with people, and that is one of my strong points in life. I can actually be anywhere in the world, not knowing anyone, and in 10 minutes, I'll be talking to 10 different people about 10 different subjects for that.
That's good. That's what you need to have as a founder and CEO. You have to have that ability to be able to network.
Yes, because I believe I read it somewhere. Your network is actually your net worth, and that is absolutely true. I've got a huge network of people in and around me. Uh, I know as an entrepreneur, we have to network a lot, and I have seen people being reluctant and keeping themselves back of sharing their ideas and not asking for help when they actually need it. Shockingly, I use LinkedIn a lot, and if you look at it, I found one of my mentors and my advisor on LinkedIn, and it was just a very quick chat on there, and all of a sudden I found more. I can't reveal, but he is a very well-known dragon, and he was like, "Okay, I love the idea. Whenever you need any help from me, just give me a shout. This is my direct number." And people don't understand. It is just ask for help if you need it, and there will be tons of people who are willing to help you. And if they can't, they would know someone and they can refer you to the right people.
So you've actually been able to reach through to a dragon, and you've been able to get direct advice, one-to-one advice and mentorship.
Yes,
Wow.
not mentorship yet, I would say, because we had a very quick chat about, because that is what it started when we were developing last year. We were at stage MVP last year September. Came October, we had to make certain changes due to the technology enhancement, and in November we were actually moving ahead with with the production and the manufacturing, which was at that back in time done in China. I hope you remember last year in November, China had to break up for their Lunar New Year. And came December, that is when they started coming back. And all of a sudden, we had COVID-19. So everything fell apart. In that process, I spoke to that gentleman 2-3 times. And he's like, well, I truly love the idea. What we want to do is, whenever you need any advice or any guidance for that matter, just come and see me. This is my direct number. Give me a call. So eventually, we have been interacting on LinkedIn for that matter, and I'm pretty confident every time that I've spoken to him, even the smallest bits, he's very thorough in doing things that he wants to do, and he's been very helpful to me. So any question that I can't find an answer to, I can actually pop it over to him, and within no time, I get a response from him. Mostly, it is within a day time. So it is quite easy for me to actually bounce ideas back. And the thing here is, he does a lot of things online, so it is very easy for me to validate my ideas and my process as I walk along. And on the other side, I love reading. Every time that I get a chance, I will just pick up a book. Currently, I'm going through a book called The Lean Startup from Eric Ries. It is a must read for entrepreneurs, to be very honest with you, because it tells you how you should actually go along with the journey. Lean Startup is about pivoting and preserving your ideas and your product, and how you can actually scale up your business at the same time. So I've learned a lot. And again, it is a validation point for me. Whatever that I'm doing, from my point of view, am I doing it right? While I read it from a successful person, he did the same, and that is a validation point for yourself. You have actually achieved a certain
It's a
milestone for that.
little. It's a confidence booster as well, isn't it? Every time you ever have any form of personal development validation, you know that you go in the right direction. And can I ask, in terms of your process for reaching out to this dragon, how did you go about it? Was it just a quick message on LinkedIn, or what was it?
Well, that was basically it. I knew someone. I was connected to someone who knew this person, and somehow I reached out to the known person, and I said I would like to get introduced to that person himself. And he was like, okay, I can make the introduction, and that is how it went. And it was pretty straightforward. So he was like, okay, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk to me about? And I just sent him a 4-liner, I believe it was, literally 4 lines in a message. And he said, you know what, let's catch up on Saturday at 11 o'clock. And he was a bit late, I'm going to be very honest, because he was in a meeting on a Saturday morning. So he called me on a Saturday right after his meeting. And he was like, okay, we got 25 minutes as I'm driving back to my office. Let's get it going. So I told him whatever I had to. I gave him all the information that I thought at that point in time is going to help him understand the business and the product that we are working on. And after that, it was like, okay, you know what? I love it, what you're trying to do. I love your passion. So whenever you need anything, this is my direct number. Just send me a message. I might not respond right away, but I will get back to you ASAP.
That's
And
awesome.
that has happened on several occasions now.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Congratulations. No, it's amazing to have that kind of backing and that kind of support. So let's move on to Captivation, because obviously that's what you're here for. And for everyone who is watching and doesn't know, Captivation or listening, Captivation is a smart nail brand. But perhaps Raj, you can explain to us in a little bit more detail what the company is and how you came about the idea.
So we are going to go back a bit in science fiction movies right now. A lot of innovations are driven by science fiction writers. Captivation is no difference. If you look at Skype, you look at iPad, you look at flip phones, you look at smartwatches, you look at 3D, all these hoverboards, self-tying shoes, all of them comes from movies like Odyssey, Star Trek, Back to the Future, electric cars coming from Back to the Future at the same time. Captivation idea came from a movie called 1995, from a movie from 1995 called Total Recall. So there is Arnold Schwarzenegger pop into the office, and the receptionist changes the nail color, nail shades from red to blue with a touch of a stylus pen. That was pretty fascinating for me, and I have always believed that once you start to innovate, it should be demand driven. So I went into the market to understand what and why, not how at that point in time. So as I was going through the framework of what and why, I found out there was a lot of gap within the market itself. So
May
there
I
was
just quickly interrupt? What framework were you using for exploratory research?
I would not call it a framework at that point in time, because in 2015, when I started with it, it was just majorly trying to understand a feasibility. Is it even possible to achieve what we want to do at that point in time? Would it be in demand? Because it was a demand-driven innovation to understand, would people use it if we were to offer them instead of the traditional acrylic and gel nails? At the end of the day, they pretty well know it is harmful for them, because they are actually restricting their nails from further growth, and it impacts their natural nail bed and their natural nail growth, for that matter. And the glue and the chemicals used on them are pretty hard, and they have to be scrapped off. While they're scrapping it off, it takes a layer of their nail bed itself. And we have had instances where it's medically proven that people using acrylic gel nails they got very fragile nails after a certain period of time. When you use gel nails, you're using the UV light, for instance, which increases the risk of cancer. Coming back to the point of a certain framework, so at that point in time, we didn't have a framework. We just needed to understand if the product would actually be in demand.
Okay, so how did you go about that process?
Oh, it was pretty straightforward. I spoke to every woman that I came across with the fake nails, or literally everyone. And my wife hated
Naughty man.
Nope, I know. I know. We have to understand what is it. So I walked to a woman and I said, "I love your nails," and she was like, "Thank you very much." I was like, "How often do you get them done? And what do you pay for it? If you don't mind me asking, I'm just doing a bit of a research, market research, trying to understand what is it that we can do to improve this." And while we are at it, we created a concept video wherein we would actually show how the nail shades could actually change instantly, under 5 seconds. And she was like, "Whoa, that is truly amazing. You're talking about future. Are we in 2050 somehow?" So moving forward, there are professionals who are not allowed to have long nails due to the restriction of their work. Let's look at doctors, for instance. All right, look at nurses, look at dental assistant, look at people who have to actually work in food and manufacturing industry. They can't have them because it's a very costly process at the end of the day. So we were like, okay, that is a huge market by itself, because those are the people who can actually afford them. So what we created back then is, okay, what we need to create is something that is a click on. What do we mean by that? People are you going to use it when they're going to need it. It doesn't have to be stick on them for 24/7. So we created a nail tip which goes on your natural nail bed, but at the same time, because it's technology driven, you can control each and every aspect of it using a smartphone. So instead of a stylus pen, our app, which we target to have at least 1 million nail shades, combinations of shades and patterns on the launch, or within the year's time that we're going to launch, would allow the user to select from any one of them. So you select, and as soon as you confirm your selection, your nails are done and ready to be stick on your natural nail bed. You go about it, you come back, and you have to take them off, because they would have a certain time, lifetime at that point in time for the day, and they have to be recharged again, going back into the case.
Excellent. And so in terms of identifying your target market, have you identified your specific buyer personas and all your various customers?
Yeah, so what we did is we went on forums. We went through a lot of groups. We sent out questionnaires, trying to understand how people, the end users, and how nail technician and how nail artists actually work.
How did you identify which forums to go onto in the first place? What was your process there?
Well, we Googled a lot. I mean, literally everything. We went through at least hundreds and thousands of websites just to figure that out. And every bit that we could find, we just posted our information on there. This is what we're trying to achieve, and this is what we tend to actually present back to the market itself. By the end of the day, the thing here is most of the nail technician and nail artists are from Asia in this instance. The majority of them are from Vietnam currently. Then there are certain other factors. I can share those details with you afterwards. I can send you the market report. Not created by us. It's created by one of the biggest manufacturers in the world called OPI, which is the nail lacquer manufacturer. And they actually bring their magazine out on an annual basis with the market research. And while you go about it, we found out that it takes them at least 2 hours to create a nail design, and they are only paid $8 an hour, right? And that is all that they're going to get for that 2 hours of work, $16. So what we wanted is to have something that would give them a recurring revenue, create your design once, sitting in Vietnam, and sell it across the globe.
Okay, so that's one distribution channel out in Vietnam. I want to get into distribution channels in a little bit. I kind of just want to focus on the kind of product market fit for the time being. So identifying your buyer persona, so your individual target markets, like who is your end user?
My end user could be anyone currently using fake nails, but at the same time, we'll be targeting a very niche people, very, very, very. I would rather say people such as professionals who don't have the time to spend 2 hours every 3 weeks to get their nails done, or their nails get chipped. They have to spend another 1 hour making appointment Friday evening. Doctors, lawyers, career women, dental assistants, nurses. These are the people that we're currently working on. People who are not allowed to have long nails, but still want to have it over the weekend while they're going out and about, having dinner parties, going out with their friends, or having a wedding. Because currently you can't go out on a Sunday, getting your nails done, paying 30 quid, and Monday morning you have to get it off because you have to go back to work.
Sure. Do you not think it'd be worth defining your specific buyers, like in more granular detail?
Well, it is. At that currently, as we move forward with the MVP stage, that is exactly the next step for us to understand how we are going to define those buyers for ourselves, those user groups. So we are actually creating user groups as we speak. So we have already been starting to doing that, but due to the lockdown, we have not been able to make any progress right now. It is being set on the back burner as we speak.
Oh, I see. So what's your process about, what will be your process around identifying a specific group?
That is currently being executed by a third party that we have actually signed up with. And yet again, that is something we can't reveal information due to the confidentiality of our agreement and our process currently.
No, that's fine. So moving on, we've established the problems already that you're aiming to solve. I can't even go into them in detail because there are so many of them that you seem to solve.
Absolutely.
But currently there are, I mean, in terms of like your pricing strategy, for instance, because there's already a smart nail brand on the market at the moment called Jacom in the UK, if you've come across it.
Yes, I have.
And that charges $21.49. And obviously for false nails or false press-on nails, you're looking anything between £5 to £9 a packet. I can't remember how many you get in per packet, but what kind of pricing strategy would you go in at roughly, and why would you go that way?
Jackcom is nowhere our competition. No way. Reason being, Jackcom uses a different technology altogether. They don't do smart nail set. What they do is NFS, I believe, which allows you to have, it has a chip which you have to actually stick on your nail, and they got a fake nail on top of it, which you paste onto it, and you just paint it over it. So you can use it as a pay as you go for your car parking, for your smart door locks, or for I believe for for bus fares. Instead of using your card, you can use that chipset. That is all that it does. It doesn't give you the flexibility of changing the nails pattern or shades. That is something you have to do it yourself, and every time you have to take it off. I have actually studied their chipset myself, and believe me when I say this, after third time the chip is broken because it is really very thin. It is very flexible, and it is very fragile, I would rather say. It is a beautiful product, no doubt about it, because if you got a phone next to it and it is connected with that chipset, it is going to start blinging and show you, if you're in a loud environment, that you got a phone call. But that is all that it can do. Besides that, you have to still stick a plastic nail on top of your nail bed and then paint that yourself. In our instance, you don't have to do anything. It is going to be same like comparing uh, any brand of phone, a low-end brand phone, compared to Apple product. That is not possible. So our product range, our product price is going to be quite high for that matter. Currently, the market research test suggests a woman spends approximately £800 a year on their nails.
And
So what we have done,
you've got longevity to your products, presumably.
yes. So we're still struggling to find the right retail price for it, but I can assure you it is going to be very affordable. It's not going to be what we're talking about Jackcom right now, because we can't sell that product, which is a technology-driven smart nail, for that price.
I imagine there's no thoughts as to doing perhaps like a monthly subscription where they get nails on a monthly basis. If there's no longevity, if there's just longevity to the product, it means they won't have to swap them out, presumably.
No. So the thing here is, we are planning to not enforce people to pay more than what they normally do on a monthly basis. So we are creating a plan that would be like pay as you go, in a way that you are committed for 12 months, right? And we will be signing up with the financial institution to offer those services that they pay on a monthly basis. So assuming the product costs 500 quid, so they're going to split 500 quid over 12 months. That is exactly what they pay on a monthly basis going to the nail salon. But now they don't have to spend those time going to the nail salon, and at the end of the day, they can change their nails on a daily basis.
I can imagine it'd be quite daunting to suddenly see, yes, I'm going to spend £500 up front for my nails, but you can split it up into this amount.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It will definitely be a difficult one to communicate initially, but I think once people get their heads around it, it'll be easy to explain. But I suppose there'll have to be a lot of demonstrating videos and everything like that to really get the message across. I wanted to move on to branding. Obviously, Captivatiun. How'd you come up with the name?
While we were doing the market research of what and why, and we were showing our video, there was this lady who is actually a singing teacher. She teaches singing to the kids. She was like, wow, that is really captivating for me. And I was like, okay, I thought captivation, being in captivity means being in jail kind of thing. But when I went back and did the research, it was like something I can get my head off of it. It was too good to be true, and it is stuck in my mind. So what we created is Captivatiun. That product itself is going to be very captivating. So we couldn't use the word captivating, so we had to actually come up with a word which is going to be a very, very strong feeling while speaking about its captivation, while you look at our product. But we replace the O with the U. The U is for users in between it. Why did we do that? Because we give a full control and freedom back to the users. Because in our product, they're going to define their own wear time. They will have the control when they want to use it, and they would be able to control how they want to use it and what nail shades and pattern they want to use, matching their accessories in this instance or the occasion that they're going for. That is the reason we use the Captivatiun. And we were lucky enough to be able to trademark that name right away. So we did that as we registered the company last year.
Okay.
So it was pretty straightforward concept for us.
Are you not concerned that people are going to find it difficult to spell because of the U?
That is one bit. Absolutely correct at the same time, but the product line would be not called Captivatiun. Product line would be called something very simple, something that people would be able to actually connect with themselves and with the industry and be able to very easily spell. At the end of the day, you can't connect Apple with technology. So when you talk about Apple, you think about fruit. You don't think about computers, laptops or mobile phones or tablet, iPads.
Definitely think of technology when you think of Apple.
There you do. There you do. There you do.
Yes, you definitely do.
Because we are going to create that branding across Captivation to ensure that it does connect and brings back people to understand that we are a technology driven company but into beauty product.
No, of course. And that was actually what I was going to go into, because I was going to ask you if Captivation was going to be your umbrella brand and whether you're going to have product names underneath it, which obviously you are.
That is open for discussion.
I've got a product name for you, by the way. Smart Nail, small SM, big ART, and then spell nail NALE. Then you've got, it's slightly different. I don't think you'd be able to call it just Smart Nail, but it already works. Have a think about it. That's free. It's free. You can take it.
Thank you
If
very
you
much.
use it though, no, I'm taking some royalties. I'm taking some commission.
Yeah, I know you would. I'm sure you would, mate.
So next, obviously, the logo is still in its very burgeoning stages, isn't it?
Yes.
Because obviously, if you haven't quite got a product name as of yet, but obviously got the umbrella brand, so we'll just ignore that for now. Brand values. So what would you say are your brand values and how you aim to communicate those? I know it's very early on, admittedly, to identify them, but it'll be, obviously it's going to have to do with the rigor of the product itself, the captivating design of them all. But what else are your brand values and how are you going to go about identifying them?
So when you talk about brand values, it could be completely different. Are we talking about the end product, how user look at it? Are we talking about the technology behind it? Are we talking about the web application that we're going to develop in order to support the product by itself?
You can look at branding. You can look at brand values in obviously two different points of view. You can look at it from the product point of view. You can look at it from the overall business point of view. Obviously, when you're communicating your brand values to end users, it'll primarily be from the product's point of view. So let's look at it from, I'm going to start calling them Smart Nail because it's a great name. Smart Nail's point of view. If you end up communicating those values, what would those be?
To be very honest with you, we haven't worked through that bit as of right now due to the fact that we were so focused in developing the product. So we haven't actually gone through creating the brand values. But I'm sure there would be time in the very near future that we have actually worked through it. As quickly, on the top of my head, looking at the product, the brand value, I can't say anything which we might have to change at the later stage. So I would have to actually pass on to discussion because we haven't actually thought through it, to be honest.
I used to, I remember because when I was doing my my master's at Cranfield back in 2012, 2013, back when I was younger, I remember I did this amazing project to identify brand values, and you can do this very, very, very simple interview process to just to identify what the first things that users or customers think of when they think of your brand. So that would be a very good process for you to undergo at some point. I think. Yeah, I think it's usually a lot easier to do once you've launched a product. So it'll be easier to just kind of refine it moving forwards. But essentially, I was doing it for a B2B product, Acco Water Management, and it was really easy to identify specifically what people really valued. So what's the first thing you think of when you think of Acco Water Management, which is all drainage? It's functional, it's fit for purpose, it's rigorous, longevity, it's all those things. It's a really good little a good technique to employ when you end up trying to do that, because obviously it becomes vital to communicating it through your marketing collateral.
No. So basically, we have worked through a little bit of that bit, but as I stated earlier, due to the early stage of product development, it might change. So if I say something that might change in the near future, is something I just want to avoid. So that is why I'm not providing any information related to the brand values of
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, from the branding point of view, one of my guests, John Peterson from the Strong Life Club, I think episode 4, he took on branding and marketing mentors to really hone their message. Are you going to have a team for branding and marketing? Are you going to have a third party, or how are you going to go about it?
So we are talking currently to one of the leading third-party branding and marketing company agency in London itself. They have been involved in some very big names. They have actually created small brands into big brands, and we are currently talking with them. They have already sent us their roadmap, how they tend to do it, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. As I said earlier, normally it would have already started from February this year. that people would have understood, because it is going to be a behavioral driven decision when it's come down to women buying certain stuff. So there is a psychological effect, or a study that one of their department conducts in order to create the brand and the marketing strategy for us. So I was pretty amazed how they were actually working around it. And when we had a call, I was like, okay, I didn't think that is how it works. So if I need something, I just pop into the store, find it, pay for it, and go home. That's it. When they started talking about how women actually look at it, and I was like, okay, I understand that bit. And I was like, okay, so if that is what we are looking at, I will leave that to you. So yes, we'll be working with third party who have already started working on phase one as we speak, but we had to actually pause them due to the lockdown right now. It is a waste of time, to be very honest with you. But I'm sure they're going to pick up as soon as this lockdown is over, and then most probably by end of this year, people will get to know more about Captivation by itself.
So, with regards, we were discussing distribution channels very briefly. You touched upon them earlier. Obviously, from a health and beauty point of view, you've obviously got online retailers such as Sephora, Love Lula, Essential. You've got your bricks and mortars as well, Superdrug, Claire's, all of that lot. But then obviously you've got B2C directly, and you can sell directly to consumer. What channels are you going to be focusing on?
So what we have actually identified is, in this instance, uh, due to the uniqueness of the product, we have thought of introducing this on the major standpoints, such as shopping malls, for instance, having a pop-up kiosk for an introduction point of view. So we want people to be able to view the product itself, play around with it, before entering into any retail aspect of it. We'll be presenting this using the fashion, the beauty events, the social media, as you stated yourself, B2C directly. So we'll be using the e-commerce aspect of our own platform, using the Captivation platform itself. Besides that, we're using specialized boutique, because you can't accept people to go into Boots or Super Drugstore and try to find out information on smart nail set, because sales points over there, salesperson won't have enough information all the time to explain that to the consumer. So what we want to do is we want to have channels wherein people will get the attention required to understand the product prior to their purchase.
Okay, so in-store demonstrations, and obviously people being able to try them on, if you got spare sets. And what would be your approach for and so that'll be that's going to be your approach for launch.
That'll be the approach for launch.
Okay, and what about in terms of B2B?
We are still working through with the retail aspect of his lifestyle stores, specialized boutiques, for instance, even spas, resorts that we have been looking at, because we were approached by some of my contacts on LinkedIn again. How about we can collaborate with this, and we could actually create a sales point for you, or a display, and we can actually work through it. But as I stated earlier, at this stage, it is pretty on a very early stage to define the distribution channel. Although we have actually jotted down certain things in our business plan, how we tend to do it. But it totally depends by the end of the day how the future after this pandemic, how the market and the consumers are going to behave, because the impact of COVID-19 is so huge that I think people are going to be quite scared of walking into nail salon, because at the end of the day, they still have to have a physical touch, and they are very close to that human. So coming back to the point of the sales channel, as I said earlier, we are still defining. We have actually identified a few, but have we finalized on it yet? No. We still need to figure that piece out. And for that, I think it would be right for me to say we have to appoint someone who has got a good experience in retail, and creating those sales channels and bring them on board with us. And we are already talking to someone who has got a huge experience through social influencers, who has actually worked with very big brands, very big names. And I've been talking to her for almost a year now, trying to bring her over. Her previous venture got busted because it didn't survive high street, and now she started doing something else. And I have just sent her a message last week stating, I just want you on board ASAP. So I think these ideas would come from them. My as a founder, my point is to create a product that is fit to market and to ensure that it meets it meets the demand and the requirements from my consumer point of view.
So just swiftly, okay. So you're going through the sales distribution channel definition process, and you're trying to get this this lady on board who's obviously got experience there as well. I mean, you're right in terms of how people are going to react off the back of COVID-19. There's a lot to be said about obviously direct consumer sales, a huge amount of e-commerce. But you're right, they will lose that element of being able to try them on and actually being able to see and touch the product, especially when you're going to be selling them at a higher price point as well. How would you envisage getting over that if you ended up having to go down the direct to consumer channel? Can you personally envisage how you get over that, or just leave that to the sales consultant?
I would still leave that to the salesperson for that.
Hell yeah.
But
we're good at that stuff.
Yeah, no, but the thing here is Steve Jobs said once that what we are trying to create is something, although it's on a high end, it is very niche. We are targeting very niche market. People don't know if they want it until we show them what it does. And that is exactly what we want to do. So I'm pretty confident. I'm 100% sure that once someone has actually touched our nails and actually tried them on with the application that we are working on, I can assure you 9 out of 10 people are going to be like, I want them. I want them right now. Because our nail designers right now, even today, the VE special that we uploaded, I don't know if you had a chance, and I didn't even understand it myself. The beauty of that nail art is you are actually giving. So what they did was they gave a blood red on one nail. They created modern angel wings on these two fingers, index and ring finger, and the last one was done as blue. So it replicates, or it reflects, the UK flag by itself, but at the same time it gives a message that a lot of blood is drawn until this day. Those fallen heroes are angels on wings staying in heaven. So those elements all together is something that a nail artist manually can't achieve over and over again. I can allow with one design that is created by my individual to be replicated among 1 nail set or 1 million, and they will still reflect the same.
Oh well, I'm sold, mate. If I wore nails, mate. If I wore nails, I'd be coming.
I'm sure you will find someone who will.
So, obviously, I know it's still a little bit early to fully define this aspect of the process, but in terms of after-sale service for anyone who becomes a customer, will you have some kind of smart nail community, or what do you envisage for that?
So basically, I would say, as I dropped the name Steve Jobs, I am an Apple a few times. He is my idol. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk.
Oh, they're not very high achievers.
Well, they are what they are. They
it's
have
a joke.
I know, but I'm just saying, when it comes down to after sales services, we want to keep that on a very high end. So we will provide a system. We'll have an automated system in place. That is what we want to do. Initially, what we want to do is we are offering 1 year warranty on our smart nail set. If something goes wrong, you come back to us, that we replaced within that time frame, unless you have hammered it. If there is a manufacturing defect, we won't ask any question. We're going to replace your nail set. Besides that, we are planning to actually allow an extra warranty period of another 12 months by paying something extra. And when it's come down to after sales, I think today with the AI in place, it is quite easy to have an automated system instead of a human sitting on the other side. We will be creating step by step guide for people to be able to understand how to use those nails. It is going to be pretty straightforward, plug and play, as simple as it is. It is same as activating your iPhone by connecting it to iTunes, for instance. And those are the flows that we're going to provide people. So I still want to eliminate a lot of people reaching out to the after sale consumer customer support. Instead, have a system in place which does it for them automatically from their smartphone or using their laptop or their PC whatsoever.
And in terms of community, will you have somewhere where a lot of smart nail users can interact, maybe some forums or something like that?
Basically, within our app, you can actually connect with other users that you are connected on any other social media platform. You can flaunt your nails by publishing them on the social media. We would be having a loyalty and rewards program where you can actually scale up on the leaderboard. As you go forward, you will be granted certain freebies for that matter, and that is how you connect with those other people and try to understand
I'm a
how they are.
huge fan of gamification.
Gamification is one aspect, exactly. That is exactly what we are looking forward to do, and we would allow people to connect with other users, but again, we are constrained by the privacy laws. If you know what I mean, we can't just allow anyone to be connected to anyone for that matter. But at the same time, we will always have control about our users, because at the end of the day, in a control way, what I mean is we will always know their demographic, and they can't access our system without being a user of our smart nail set. You can't access our system without, it's the same like accessing iTunes without having an iPhone. That is not possible. Or an Apple product. And that is exactly what we're actually trying to create. Oh no, don't talk about jailbreak here now.
Don't talk about what?
Jailbreak.
What do you mean?
It is something that you can do to allow any kind of applications to be run on Apple phones. They jailbreak it. That is what they say.
Yeah, that's an area of the tech world that I'm definitely not part of. I'm definitely not cool enough to be part of that, mate.
No, so yeah, answering on your question, yes, we will have a certain community where we would allow users to interact with one another, connect with one another, share their experience, share their nail designs that they have been using, and accordingly suggest to their friends. We're also looking at certain referral program wherein we will allow user to actually, what you said about gamification is one aspect of it, but we'll also allow user to have the opportunity to actually get their money back what they've actually paid for by promoting our product to their friends. So the more sales that they generate for us, the more money they're going to save and get their money back in cash instead of getting in loyalty like you can get subscription for free. No, we'll give you actual hard cash money back into your account.
Sweet. And I've got to ask you, before I go on to my final topic, just one more question. In terms of, obviously, we already discussed that Captivation itself is going to be the umbrella brand, somewhat like your Unilever of the smart beauty product community. What kind of relevant product extensions could you possibly move into? Is that something you can't discuss?
Keeping everything still under the wraps, I would say we are looking at next step. We said we want to bring technology into physical beauty products. So it is not an app that is only working. It is a physical product that you can use alongside an app in combination with an app. So our next step is basically eyelashes that we've been thinking of. And that is a huge risk, because I think that can't be done as consumer wearable due to the impact that it could have directly on your eyes. So basically what we're trying to do is
Sorry, just quickly, what do you mean by it can't be done by consumer variable?
Do you remember you're talking about something that is electronically driven?
Yeah.
So there's electricity going across your eyes, eyelashes all the time using our product, for instance.
And the
Okay,
fear, the fear of self combustion.
exactly. That is one element of it.
Can you
Well,
imagine?
that we don't want to get into that point, but we have thought a lot about different elements, such as tattoos. That is next big thing. And tattoos which can have a recorded message. Yeah, but something that you can change, something you can literally change.
That's kind of cool. Well, I think that takes away a little bit from the element of getting something tattooed that genuinely has meaning. But having said that, there is a market out there for people who can't commit to a specific design, who want something that
Okay,
wants to be
let me
changed. I think I'm going to
let
have to jump on this idea, mate.
no, you can't. I've got a patent on it already. Now coming back to
Really amazing.
yes. So why did I have always wanted to have a tattoo, but I've got a needle phobia. All right. So I spent time in South Africa standing next to wild, full grown lions, tigers, and cheetahs. But I'm scared of needles. Honest truth. If I go for blood test, I'm really shaking. I really get nervous around needles. So I can never get a tattoo, but I would love to have my kid's name on my back. How do I do that? Now, there you go. So there is a lot of possibility to actually expand our product line. But due to the fact that we have said we're going to bring it into beauty products, we're going to stick into beauty products. So there is a lot of element to it. I just named just one
No, of course.
for a specific reason,
Mhm.
but there are others. And as I said earlier, it is always going to be demand-driven innovation. So as soon as we see that consumer are looking for something specific, we'll just jump onto it. With the technology already in place, it is just imposing and implementing into the right solution.
It's very exciting, Raj. I've got to be honest, mate. It's quite cool that because even if you do, because obviously with eyelashes, you'll be able to stick to the same customer base, and obviously selling into your existing customer base is a hell of a lot easier. And they say like 60% easier than selling to new customers. Obviously, once you really sell into that existing customer base, moving into tattoos will just give you access to a whole host of different consumers, as well as extending into men as well. So it's really cool. I wanted to touch upon a very last, very important topic for startups. This stuff, so the manufacturing process, sourcing all the materials, the app development, it's not cheap. Talk to me about finance. What has been your process to get this all off the ground from a financial point of view? Have you had to go through any process of seeking out any angels?
So till date, the entire project, whatever it has costed, is till date self-funded by myself. So shockingly, uh, I have been able to do this with the very limited funds that I had, or all the savings that I had. I myself, being coming from IT background, it was quite easy for me to find the right people to do it for the right amount for me. But at the same time, the app development aspect, such as the screen design, the UI, the US aspect of it, that is something I've done it myself. Reason I am quite creative. So I have actually created the flows all by myself, and I was talking to one of, I would say, a lead mobile app developers in India, and I showed him that, and he was like, "Who created that for you? I would like to use them for our next client." I said, "I don't think you can afford me." And he said, "No, you didn't create them." I said, "Yes, I did, all of them." And he was like, "Well, you have gone from splash screen, onboarding, registration, login, purchase, and everything else. How did you go about it?" Well, that is exactly what I used to do. So it comes down to the fact that I have been able to save money everywhere that I could actually use my own skills or those of my friends and known people. So I've actually pulled them all together. Guys, I need help with this. Can you actually figure it out for me and tell me how it needs to be done? And they've come back very openly and told me how it needs to be done. Coming back to your other question about have I raised any funding till date? No, we haven't. But at this stage, because we are now reaching an MVP stage where we have to actually get to a point of fit to market actual product that we have to actually work through, we are talking to certain angel investors as we speak now. So I have reached out to a few. honestly. My One of my core team members know a few as well. So we have actually started working on our pitch deck, which is now finalized. So most probably we've got a meeting next week remotely, keeping social distance in place, and we'll be able to finalize on that pitch deck, and that is exactly what we're going to send out to the investors who have actually shown their interest. Because as we speak, there is a bit of talk within the community of angel investors and seed investors to actually jump on this opportunity. But at the end of the day, until and unless they see the product itself, it's quite easy for me to say, you know what, I'm going to build a hotel on Mars, but how am I going to reach there? So I am saying this is what I'm going to do, but can you show us how this thing is going to work? Does this technology exist? The polygrammetry, the thickness, for instance, because you have to understand, I can give an 8 millimeter thick nail. I have to give them the exact 1.5 millimeter thickness of an acrylic nail and still keep it light so they can actually move their hand freely. And that is exactly what I want to show in a demo with my MVP to my investors. And that is currently that we're going through. So we're going through a lot of changes in our paychecks because we want to make sure. But do understand, at the end of the day, it is not only the product itself, it is the big data behind it. The data collection point, that is going to drive a lot of our business. So for me, the hardware is one element, but the collection and the big data and the converting data into knowledge is something that we look forward to do moving forward.
And so, with regards to the approach that you're taking to seek out investors, how have you been going around finding angels? What has been your process on creating a pitch deck? Where are you looking?
See, if you Google creating a pitch deck today, you will find a lot of examples. You can actually look on Google, find the most successful pitch decks, and you will find a lot of examples as well at the same time. But your pitch deck needs to showcase your product and your vision in a way that only you can see it in your mind. So in order to paint that on a pitch deck or a presentation becomes very, very, very difficult, I would rather say. So it is easier to use the data that you already have, because at the end of the day today there is no data available about this market. We say the market is valued over 80 billion US dollars. All right, and those data come from the sales of nail lacquer such as OPI, how many registered nail technicians are in the US, because they majorly reflect only about the US market, and how many customers do they cater on a weekly basis, and so forth and so forth. Based on that collection of that data, we have actually broken them down into pieces to understand what is the structure of this market, but today it doesn't exist. So while creating that pitch deck and reaching out to the angel investor, I have used a lot of different channels. I've used my own LinkedIn network, for instance. I have spent money on becoming LinkedIn premium customer, premium user, for instance. That way, you can actually reach out to the right people. Currently, you can't, as a freebie, you can't do that. So for me, it is like, okay, understanding, would they be interested in the sector? Have they invested in the sector themselves previously? Would they bring any value to my business, to the board, as an advisory committee or as a mentorship? And at the same time, if they can't do it themselves, as I stated earlier, I have found someone who clearly said to me, Raj, I love your idea, mate, but it's not my piece. It's not my cup of tea. So what I would rather do is I will introduce you to someone who I think is the right fit for you. And in another 10 minutes, I got an email from him CCing that other person and introducing me by saying, hey, I want you two to chat because I think this is the right fit for you two. You two are like made couple in heaven, or I'm already married, but nevertheless, you know what I mean. But the fact remains, that is how I have been able to reach out to the angel investors right now. From the other person point of view, as I stated, someone who has got a huge sales channel distribution network experience, the girl, I would rather say, or the lady that I'm trying to get on board, she has got a very good channels. I was told I could actually use, what is it called? God, what is that platform called when you raise funds from individuals?
Crowdcube or
Crowdfunding.
crowdfunding.
All right, so crowdfunding. So I spoke to crowdfunding consultant, and they were like, "What are you trying to raise? X, Y, Z. Well, you need to bring this much amount yourself." Well, that is not crowdfunding for me. Crowdfunding is, this is my idea, and I'm looking for X amount. This is this is the development stage we are at, and with these funds, we want to reach the next stage. But if I have to bring half of it myself, I don't see that as crowdfunding. I see that as you guys are only topping up and taking 20% of it. So it doesn't make sense to me. But I think reaching out to the right people from the right sector, so you have to do a lot of R&D from that point of view, understand the interest of those investors. Do they have any previous experience within the sector itself? Would they bring any value in any ways, either marketing, sales, or supply chain management, or product development, or application development, project management, whatsoever? And accordingly, I have actually shortlisted only 10 out of them right now, out of 50 that I had a list of. Now, I still got another 100 to go through. So I think the stage I'm in right now, if I send out to 50, I'll be presenting it to 10. And out of 10, I'll be talking to 5 in the next round. And from the 5, I'll be jotting down with the 3. And from 3, I'll be finalizing with 2.
I had a question. it's just completely lost.
It wasn't that important of a question.
No, it was. Fuck's sake, something to do with angel investing again. Yes, sorry. So in terms of obviously how much you're seeking, is that purely going to be on the product development side?
Yes, as of right now, it would be, because our manufacturing aspect of it would be done through Series A. Series A is going to be a huge investment due to the fact that we would be requiring an entire manufacturing unit, either putting it ourselves or taking it over from an existing one. There are lots. The large investment would be around tooling cost. Do remember that you are talking about 5 different shapes of nails. Well, I would rather say sizes, not shapes. 5 different sizes, curvature, the different lengths. This is something that doesn't already exist in the market, so you have to have a tool in place. And you'll be shocked to know that the tool goes in millions. A single tool goes in millions, and I need 5 of them. So the seed funding, the seed round is purely going to be the final product development, which would then have all the aspects of, this is a product that we're going to create.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, we'll be already talking to our suppliers, our manufacturers, and understand their ability of creating those tools. And coming back to it, once we have actually finalized, because currently we only got quote from 3 different manufacturers in the world who could create those tools. And all 3 of them has differentiated dramatically, approximately 30% of each of them. So I think it is high time for me to say, all right, you know what? I would rather go to countries where this is being manufactured and talk to them directly, and just right there on the spot finalize on which one are we going to use, and accordingly raise those fundings through Series A. That would give us the tool in place and the end product, and accordingly we can start with it, because it is going to take us 6 months of manufacturing time of the entire product ready to ship. And I think within 9 months, we would be able to actually ship our first product to our end consumers, end users.
Okay, and on that note, at this point in the interview, we've come to the end, but I often ask my guests to do 2 things for me. The second, I might not ask you because of your back, but we'll go for the first one right now. I need you to give me an elevator pitch for your product. Can you do that?
Ooh,
10 to 15. I'll give you 15 to 20 seconds, mate. This is all practice for your investor pitches.
All right, my elevator pitch. Okay, so basically, all right, 3, 2, 1. The biggest problem today in the world is when you talk about fake nails, they're bounded. The users are bounded for 24/7. They can't actually take them off by themselves. It is health risk for themselves dramatically. So what we are offering as a solution is a smart nail set, which would give them the freedom to control their nails. There'll be a time, define their style by selecting from many different nail designs that we got already uploaded within our app. That would save them the money because at the end of the day, they would have 365 designs to choose from on a one every year. This, well, I think I've got 20 seconds is over, I believe. Is it? Yeah. I didn't prepare for that. You didn't.
You're not supposed to prepare for it, mate. That's the point.
I know, but
That's the
as
point.
I said, my actual laptop broke down on me. Otherwise, I would be going through my pitch deck for
Do
you.
you want to have another go? Do you want to have another go?
Just give me a sec.
No, I don't want your pitch deck. No, you're not supposed to plan this. I'm giving you a second chance. This is cheating, Raj. Raj, you won't. I'm not going to give you a second go. You're going to have to just do it off the cuff. Come on, bro.
No,
Come on.
I think no. So for me, it is very simple to say I want women to save time instead of picking up a phone, taking an appointment, spending 2 hours sitting for their nails. At the end of the day, those nails that they are today applying acrylic or gel nails are very harmful for them. They actually impose a high risk of cancer. Acrylic by itself is for plastic identification code 7, which is non-recyclable, as we've seen with the plastic. I think acrylic is going to be the next one ending on the bottom of our seas. We have seen with the current pandemic, I think it is time that we should actually understand that we need to actually work towards our environment and towards our planet. So I think our product itself is going to save planet and help women save time instead of wasting it in nail salon. At the same time, nail artists would be able to actually offer their nail designs through our platform globally and create a recurring revenue for themselves.
Okay, all right. That was better. That was a lot better. It was definitely more succinct than the first one. There was definitely a point you could have ended that sooner, but it worked. it's
We'll go through the entire process.
Mate, you haven't even got your product out to market yet. It's a lot more difficult to do a pitch when you haven't got the product out to market because you're not constantly trying to think of how to sell it through marketing collateral and other things. The second thing I was going to ask you to do, mate, is am I on your laptop at the moment? I'm on a laptop at the moment, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so can you lift up your laptop, put it to the side, get your phone, and then take a selfie with me in the background? Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Amazing. I don't want you to injure your back anymore. That's the only thing.
Oh, this is going to be a bit of difficult.
So hold it behind you. Hold it behind you like this. You don't have to look. No, not your phone. Not your phone. The laptop. The laptop. So me in the background and your face here. Laptop here. Phone there.
Yeah. No. What I will do is I will rather stand up.
Okay. There it is.
But I'm not coming on it. All right, there we go.
There we go. Perfect.
Oh, you are a bit shady.
It doesn't matter,
Are
mate.
okay today?
That's fine.
Got it.
Excellent. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. I hope I haven't put you in an awkward position for your back.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. It was already time for me to get off of my bed because I've been sitting in it too long. And I think it is high time for me to actually get out of it now.
Oh, for God's sake, you could have been sitting like this all the interviews. Perfect like this. The same level. Oh, for God's sake. Have you not heard of the rule of thirds? Anyway, Raj, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I really do appreciate it. Have you got any other message to leave with my 1 or 2 listeners out there?
Well, if your listeners are entrepreneurs, I would say this is another quote most probably you're going to use. When in life you become fearless, life becomes limitless. So don't be afraid to fail because first attempt in learning equals fail. If you learn something out of it, you know exactly how not to do it for the next time. And if you don't give up on a dream, you can't go a day without thinking about it. If you want to do it, today is the time. Believe me, the last biggest 10 companies came from the time of recession between 2008 and 2009. Airbnb, Uber, just to name a few, WhatsApp, and so forth and so forth. So today, if you want to start with something, nothing better than today. I started yesterday already, so I'm a day ahead of you.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for that, mate. And guys, thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. Tune back in next time where I'm going to have Farida Muller from Muller Skincare, which is an organic skincare brand, on the show. And yeah, just tune back in for some real-time advice.